This is not the way that the new office will look. That will most likely be debuting next week. Hey, very quickly before this video starts, at the end of this video I want to tell you about some of the exciting changes coming to Beko's Backpack over on Patreon. It affects you if you're already a Beko's Backpack patron, but it might also be something you're interested in if you're not already a Beko's Backpack patron. The very short version is Beko's Backpack is now more affordable. It's going from 4 items to 2, and those 2 items will be the very nice quality collectible foil trading card and hard enamel pin. It's basically becoming a pin and card of the month club. More on that later. So it might seem from the title that this video is all about taking your time, not rushing your drawing process, and that might be a pretty decent side effect, and as someone who got their second shot this week, it'd be welcome. But we're actually talking about the actual mechanical way that you draw. Here's a little background. I guess it all started when I was a much less experienced artist with a much less developed drawing arm. I wanted to get smooth digital lines on a small Wacom tablet. The small surface area, the lack of any digital aids to smooth or streamline the line art, and most importantly, a lack of control over my drawing arm and hand made it so slow lines were wobbly lines. The quick fix to that is to make the quickest swooping ink lines you can, and then erase the part where you overlapped. It's not a bad strategy, and it may be necessary in certain circumstances, but the downside is that it might train you to only make hard, quick lines, which removes a lot of the versatility and vocabulary that your drawing arm and hand has. Even worse, it might train you to only ever draw quickly. I'm perfectly well aware that I just made a video about a month ago about drawing faster and looser, and while it might not seem like it, it's not contradictory. Both the non-committal brushy strokes from that video and the more calm and controlled strokes from this one help us not to choose one specific process and dig ourselves a rut there. Again, it's about building skills and vocabulary. Inking is of course one of the places where you want to get those finite, smooth, controlled lines. And a problem I see a lot of newer artists have is using a much thicker inking brush over a thin pencil sketch. It isn't always bad to have thick lines, but usually it just completely wipes out the personality and nuance of a pencil sketch. But this newer artist might have felt forced to use a thicker brush because it was the only way to get smooth lines. So let's fix that. Now, if you only attempted to improve your drawing as you're making things, it'd be a little like practicing your lines when you're already out on stage for the big performance. I guess you could try with limited success, but it's much better to do so earlier during the rehearsal. So here is the primary exercise that I'd like you to try, especially if you're drawing only from your wrist, or you're trying to improve the strength and muscle control of your drawing arm. So here's a template that you can screenshot and either import into your drawing app of choice or print it out. I'll give you a second to do that. All right, you found the clipping tool or the buttons on your tablet to screenshot. Okay, good. You're going to place this piece of paper or your tablet directly in front of you, squared up, with you sitting up and your whole drawing arm able to move, not resting your wrist on the table or your elbow on an armrest if you're physically able. Now you'll take a darker drawing implement like a pen or pencil and do your best to slowly, methodically, and lightly trace the lines and curves on this page. Now remember, I made this sheet in a computer program with vector lines, so they are almost always going to be more perfect than your tracing, and that's okay. You might have a tendency to try and speed up through this, because a quicker line usually makes for a smoother one. But this exercise is not about the paper looking nice, it's about you building skill, so take it slow. The more often you wallow in the uncomfortable state of not doing very well, the more you are training yourself to do this. Once you've done this exercise with horizontal lines, rotate the page, image, or tablet 90 degrees, and now practice the lines vertically. Repeat this exercise more than once, maybe even starting out your drawing session with it every time for a month or two, and see how much it improves your drawing, especially your inking. Remember that changing up tools or process is always a great way to diversify your skill set as an artist, and trying something we're uncomfortable with is a great way to improve. But I think the biggest benefit to this is that you train yourself out of rushing through your drawing, or only drawing something you're familiar with and have the muscle memory for already. Being able to slowly meander through your process will bring about much more diverse and thoughtful drawings and designs, and it will have a big impact on your skills and quality overall. Also remember that good drawings can have little imperfections, wobbly pencil lines, they can have detail and personality. Sometimes we fixate on almost sterilizing our work with smoothness, and it honestly kills the life of our drawing. Especially later on in the process when you're rendering, speed and impatience can turn a methodical art-making process into a sloppy and slapdash one. Another quick lesson that I wish I'd learned sooner is that despite lines being these separators between shapes, they don't always have to connect back to each other. Just look at the incompleteness of Calvin and Hobbes lines, yet the thickness and brushiness of the lines and the watercolor behind the colored strips allows for the idea to be complete. So you might actually get some value out of indicating or hinting at something with a line, but not necessarily constantly connecting them. Yes, it does mean that you can't use the paint bucket tool on Calvin's hair without it flooding your whole image. It's still a good trade-off to make. As I mentioned, Biko's backpack is changing, and I think it's for the better. Here's a little chart version. Instead of 4 items a month, it's now a pin and foil trading card a month. Instead of a $20 tier, it's a $15 tier. So why the changes? We started Biko's backpack a year and a half ago, and the idea was to provide some physical merch that we could also sell the additional inventory of at conventions. Because of last year, other than a few virtual booths over on Twitch, which we'll be doing again soon, we did not have any of those shows. Two things have also gotten more expensive: the cost of producing these items and the shipping, especially internationally, which we do still do. 4 items is also less ideal both for me and for you. It averages out to about 1 new piece of merchandise to make every week, and if I fall behind on that, I don't like when the quality comes up short. I also completely understand the conundrum of getting a sticker that you really like, but it being difficult to choose a place for it. I wanted the backpack moving forward to be something that it's easy and uncumbersome for loyal, longtime patrons to collect. I especially appreciate this really cool card binder that Sylvan Shroom shared, where she keeps the trading cards. Cards and pins are easy to collect and look really nice when they're all together. Even though they're the most expensive thing to produce, I'm really excited for pins to be available every month, and I think you'll really like how these are looking. Here's a sneak preview at June's pin of everyone's favorite gruff little sharpshooter, Quilvert. Plus, with the time freed up by not producing a new piece of art every week just for the backpack, I have the space to occasionally offer one-off items like sticker packs and prints, and maybe some very exciting things that we are almost finally able to offer over on brookeseggleston.com/shop without a monthly commitment. It also frees me up to spend more time on long-term projects like Stormfellers and Shackleton. I hope that the lower price ends up being something more manageable both for folks who have yet to join Biko's backpack and those longtime faithful patrons. I deeply appreciate everything that you folks do to support the channel, and I could not do it without you. So thank you so much. Also, very quickly, for future patrons at the Novice Bard tier, all existing ones are grandfathered in. The personalized video critiques are increasing in price. I have offered these at a very low price for a very long time, and it's still relatively low, the hope being that some would stick around for future feedback in later months. Unfortunately, there have been too many situations where someone joins, they pay $10 and cancel almost immediately, and my time and experience to pull together your work, make draw-overs, and provide feedback usually takes over an hour, and it no longer reflects what my time is worth. And even when I really try to catch up on them, I can really only feasibly knock out about 3 critiques in a day before I've kind of spent that section of my brain and that energy, and the quality of them suffers. The queue of critiques has also been too long for me to be happy with. The original plan for these back when they were $5 was a 5-minute video where I did live draw-overs, and it's progressed to the point where the best way that I can help through these critiques is to pre-draw the draw-overs, and the videos end up typically being like 10 to 20 minutes long once they're actually recorded. These critiques can't be mass-produced. They are personal, targeted videos for each individual, and I always want to give them my full attention because I know how powerful this personal feedback can be. If you want critiques faster, or you aren't interested at all with going through Patreon, we offer 2-week expedited critiques through brookeseggleston.com/shop. The goal with all of these changes is quality over quantity, and I hope you at least understand, if not appreciate, that motive. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out in the comments below or on Patreon at patreon.com/bageldenizen. You can grab my course Learn Character Design at learncharacterdesign.com and follow me at bageldenizen on Instagram, where we've been posting daily again recently. If you could toss me a follow over there, it would actually be greatly helpful. I'm also Bagel Denizen over on Twitter, Twitch, and TikTok. Thank you so much for watching, and have fun creating. Hi, little hoverfly. Take care.